Now let's do another thing. Let's create one cube and let's bring this downwards. Now we'll select live selection tool and press T for scaling and scale it like this, and simply move this over here. Now press C to make this object editable. Select those points, select this rectangle selection tool, select this point, press T and decrease the size, and let's move this over here. Okay, so we'll get something like this, and also add subdivision to this. Now select this cube, select those edges, hit Ctrl A, right click, choose bevel and increase the bevel, and then enable subdivision surface, so you will get something like this. Okay, now we need to one handle for this. So for that I'm going to select my cylinder and simply select this cylinder, select live selection tool, and we will bring this over here. Go to the top view and let's decrease the size, and decrease the size from here also. Okay, like this. Now select this cylinder and rotational segment, let's add 20 only, like this. And I'm going to add height segments to, let's say, 20, like this. Okay, now we will do one thing. Let's hide all of this subdivision surface by holding Alt on it, and now we will select this cylinder and we will press C to make this object editable. Now let's go to the front view, and I'm going to select my rectangle selection and select those points, and by holding shift I'm going to select this point, this point, and this point. So basically, as you guys can see, I'm selecting alternate points like this, so I can create one spring like structure over here. So make sure to hold shift and select this thing. Now press T and let's increase the size of it like this. So if you see, we will get this kind of structure. And now I'll select this white color option and I'll bring this like this. So now I'll get something like this. So if I see this thing over here, I'll get this kind of spring structure. And now if I enable this, I'll get something like this. Okay, so this is how you can create this. Now we will create one sphere, and this is going to be my head. So I'll simply adjust the size properly like this. Press E and let's move this over here, let's move this over here, and let's move this over here. Now this should be properly inside this. Okay, if you hit Ctrl R, you will get this kind of structure. If you want, then you can increase the size of this also. Now we will try to name all of them. So let's select this one, which is our main subdivision surface. I'll call it as chest. Select this one, I'll call it as neck. Select this one, I'll call it as hip. This cylinder, let's call it as hip only, and this one is going to be my head, so I'll name it as head. Now select this head by holding Control. I'll create a duplicator and I'll move this head over here. Okay, and let's try to adjust it properly inside this hole. So let's adjust the size of it and let's try to adjust it properly inside of this. Okay, so we'll get this kind of handle. Now we need to select this, and by holding Control I'm going to move this from here to here. Okay, like this. So this is for this. Now we need to create hands for this one. So let's do one thing, let's select this and delete it. We will look at that later. Now we will create one hand like structure for this one. Now for that I'm going to select this cube again, and let's select this and move this over here, and press C to make this object editable. Press T to decrease the size of it. Let's go to the points, and I'm going to select my rectangle selection tool, and I'll select those points and press T and decrease the size up to somewhere around like this, and press E, and let's move this over here like this. Okay, now select those points, hit Ctrl A, right click and choose, let's say, loop cut, and by holding shift I'll create one over here, and I'll create one edge over here. Okay, now go to the top view. Let's go over here, select those points, choose a rectangle selection tool, select this, this, this and this, and press T, and let's increase the one size over here and one size over here. So if you see this, now we will get this kind of structure, and if you add this thing in subdivision surface, you will get something like this. Let's select this cube, and let's increase the size over here and increase the size over here. Now this structure looking good to me. If you hit Ctrl R, you will get something like this. If you want, then increase the subdivisions. Now select this subdivision surface and this cube, right click and choose connect objects plus delete, so it will create one object. So I'll name it as hand. Okay, and now we need to create something like fingers for this. So for that, what we can do, we can simply create one structure. So for that, what I'm going to do, I'm going to select my cylinder over here. Let's select this cylinder, press E, and let's move this over here like this, and decrease the size over here like this. Now select this cylinder, go to the rectangle selection tool, not a rectangle selection but rotational segments. I'm going to add 20, and let's make this object editable.